Welcome back, everyone. This week, we will be talking about the increase of workload on SENCOs. But before we do that, I just want to say a big thank you to Kim and Vicky for inviting us to the Amazon and the award ceremony for Finetti. Oh, wow. What an epic time we had.
Epic.
Use the word epic. I did have to use it this time. It was great. At the moment, while this video goes out, we're actually on the way to Bet. So if you're coming along to Bet, please, if you do see me walking around with a big camera, please do poke me and go, can I have my photo taken, please? Because we would love to do that for you. If you are there as well and you do want to go and see Abigail, Abigail will be on the test stand and the text help stand.
So I'm on the text help stand on the Wednesday and the Friday. On the Wednesday at 4:15 and on the Friday at 11:30. And I am on the test stand from 12 till 2 on the Wednesday and the Friday and 10 till 12 on the Thursday.
Yep, and if you want to join us for Hamilton as well, on the Thursday, we're at Hamilton.
Thursday afternoon.
Thursday afternoon, come and see Hamilton with us.
And watch out next week, because there might not, be some photos lurking around of us at the O2.
Oh, there's going to be loads of photos because I've got camera.
He's been invited to the Google party.
Google and me are like this now, like really, really close. Yeah. Although we've got Microsoft account, so... So let's go into SENCO workload, and I think this links a bit into the video and the panel meeting that we had with Gary Auburn, Jean Gross and Dale Pickles, where we were talking, or Abigail was talking with them, about SENCO workload and how to reduce it. So over to you, Abigail.
So again, this links back to the survey that we did just before Christmas, for which we entered everybody into the prize draw. Those prizes should have been sent out by now, so please do let us have photos of your prizes and tell us what you're doing with them. But we asked a question about workload, and the question, or the statement was, my workload as a SENCO has increased over the past year, and participants had to rate that on a scale of 1 to 10. No surprise there that there was nobody that put it as a 1. There were a couple of people who gave it a 3, 5. So a couple who were, it's not really...
Maybe they were full-time SENCOs.
Maybe. However, the overwhelming majority, 66.5%, give it a score of 10.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, quite. 2/3 of SENCOs who said that their workload had significantly increased over the past year.
Well, that's not surprising, is it, really, when we see, and I constantly say this, EHCP numbers go up by 10% every year and year and year and year, so it's going to go up, the workload for it, because the SENCO is the main person that deals with the EHCNA part of it. I said that right for once.
I don't think it's just that, though, so I don't think they were just looking at it in terms of EHC applications, because if you'd have asked a specific questions about have you applied for more EHCs this year, I think some of them would probably actually give you, no, I've applied for the same number, or I've applied for less because my local authority won't issue them, or whatever else.
Or maybe I've been to tribunal more.
Oh, yeah. But I think workload has increased across the board in a whole variety of different things. And for me, I think there's a whole exploration there around what aspects of workload have increased. So I'm seeing a lot of SENCOs who were previously perhaps non-teaching, or they were teaching 2 days a week, who are now being asked to teach 3 days a week, or asked to teach or to do cover for staff or something. So that's an increase in workload. Because even though it's not an increase in the SENCO workload, the SEN side of things, it's that increase in teaching, learning and planning and all those aspects that come with it. So the survey question was amazing. 2/3 of SENCOs saying, yes, my role has increased, or my workload has increased significantly. However, what we haven't got is the data that digs into that and goes, okay, why? What are you now doing that you weren't doing last year?
Yeah, I think we need to do more specific kind of questions, I think, next year when we go around to do the survey again. But, it's a learning curve for us. We kind of got some data out of it, and we kind of know where you're at, and we know what the answers to a lot of the questions are that come through. It's just having that evidence base to be able to say what we need to say about it.
Yeah, because I think if I go back to, I always use the latter half of my career as my examples because it's obviously more fresh in my memory. But I'd gone into a secondary school, and that first year I went there, it was okay. I expected an increased workload because it was new, it was different. My second year there, I kind of didn't expect it, but I got it because all of my subjects were then different. Because as the SENCO, I wasn't employed as a subject specialist, even though I'm a scientist. I actually ended up in departments that had got gaps that needed capacity filling. So I ended up with history, GCSE history on my timetable. I've never taught GCSE history. I ended up with having to develop a literacy programme, which I hadn't done before for the age group I was being asked to do it for. So that was the second year. In the third year, I thought, that's okay, because, perhaps I'll carry that GCSE history group through, or I'll carry that literacy group through, or get the equivalent year group again. And I didn't. I ended up with computing on my timetable and English, actual proper English, although partway through the year we did change it, and they actually gave me a year 7 science group. So, and although I trained as a scientist, I actually hadn't taught year 7 since I trained in the 1990s, and we're now in the late 2000s.
Yeah, but teaching hasn't changed at all, has it?
No,
really?
not at all.
Development hasn't happened. There's no changes in technology. It's just exactly the same as it was in the 1990s. What are you on about, Abigail?
So yeah, it was. So each year I could say my workload increased, but it had nothing to do with the SEN side. It was to do with what I was being asked to do alongside that. And then if I go to my fourth year, the actual DSL had left the school. So I picked up a lot of the DSL stuff. It wasn't called a DSL at the time, but I picked up a lot of that DSL role as part of the SENCO role. And at the same time, we had an influx of EAL students. So again, I picked up the EAL hat, and it was, all right, okay, I'll do that as well. But then you were developing that, so that increased my workload. Again, it wasn't an increase in the SEN, it was an increase in other things. And then the following year, pupil premium came out. Guess who got that hat?
SENCOs get lots of hats, don't they?
Sometimes.
They do. They end up with so many hats.
Sometimes it was actually easier to teach than it was to be a SENCO.
Do you think one of the things that took your workload down, and this is me asking you the random question now,
Dangerous.
was when you went to the LA and did the panels? Do you think that reduced some of your workload because you could see how the process worked?
Yeah. Our local authority, you have funding panels. So you do not need an EHCP, or you didn't need a statement, as it was at the time, to access additional funding for students. You would put in a bid for funding to say, this is what I'm doing to meet the needs of this child, and this is the level of funding I'd like. And then that would go to a panel. And that panel was made up of members from the local authority, so members of the different services, so behaviour support services, the learning support services, the EP service, and the actual local authority person, if you like. But it was then also made up of SENCOs from primary and secondary schools. So we were representing our own voice, if you like. You couldn't sit in on a panel that was discussing your application, so you had to step out of the room at that point. So that was fine, that was okay. But the interesting side of that was you got to see what a really good application looked like. And it's not just the good application, it was the discussion around those applications. So why did that one get the funding but that one didn't? And it would be the fact that the SENCO had liaised with those services. And it sounds awful because a lot of them are now traded services, so you have to buy into those packages. But it did come down to, had they liaised with those services, and those services were able to advocate for that funding as well and say, actually, no, the school can't meet that. It came down to how well you sold your school on that piece of paper and said what the barriers were in your school. So one year we had got building work going on. We had got, in our English department, we'd got a head of English who'd only been there for 3 months before the September start, so she came at the Easter half term, and the whole of the rest of the English department were NQTs. So that was a massive problem for us as a school in terms of meeting staff needs, never mind children's needs. But because we'd liaised with the services, and they were like, well, why can't you do that in the English lesson? We're like, no, we're having to take them out to do that. It was because it was NQTs at the time, they're ECTs now. But then also those, little nuggets, those little phrases that made people go, yes, this is a higher level need. So being able to see those. And what I learned most of all from that was it wasn't necessarily what I wrote on that piece of paper, but sometimes how I wrote it on that piece of paper. Bullet points get the message across very, very clearly. I did not need to write an essay. Yeah. That's probably one of the first things I learned. And the second one was that those, I'm going to call them catchphrases. You'll find them, you'll get used to them. But some catchphrases hold a little bit more grip than others.
Oh, there's a webinar in there somewhere, isn't there? Yeah.
I don't know, because I think it's quite local authority dependent in terms of doing that.
We could play a game with the SENCOs, couldn't we? We can just give them all these catchphrases. Here's the catchphrases.
Which one will get you the most?
Which one's going to get you your EHCP?
Don't know. So yeah, I think, did that reduce my workload? Not as much, because actually it meant I could put more applications in and know I would get some money for them. But it did, in that sense of, actually, I don't need to write an essay for this. And that wonderful one there that said that they need a 10-minute timeout, actually that one doesn't get me any money. So there's no point me really putting it in. Yes, it paints a picture of need, but it wasn't the thing that was going to get me the money. So yeah, it reduced some of that time in there. And bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy.
I hate bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy is such a wonderful thing.
Copy and paste works.
It's nearly as good as politics.
Potty licking.
Potty licking. No, I call it something else, but I can't say that on YouTube.
I was just going to say, though, that copy and paste is amazing. Just please remember to change the child's name.
Okay.
And I know some people will be cringing at that, going, but every child is an individual, so I should be writing every single one of these individually. But at the end of the day, you've got, I don't know, we used to sit and go through about 350 of these applications, and the people who were reading them, they're just looking for a reason to try and get, they weren't sitting there going, I don't want to give you the money. They were looking for a reason to give you the money, and it was almost a case of going down it and going, I've managed to hit 5. I've got 5 reasons. Can we give them band 1? I've got 8 reasons. Can we give them band 2? So if you've got those phrases, copy and paste it, put it on, but change your kid's name. Yeah.
There you go. That's an easy way of. That's a very, very easy way, especially if you've got an Excel sheet and you can do mail merge or something like that.
Yeah, Excel sheet, mail merge, build your bank up, ask to see successful applications, talk to local SENCOs in your area about different things. I know that we see in the group sometimes people saying, oh, can I see a blank copy of an EHC application? You can't, obviously, because it is EHC applications are a little bit different. An EHC application is very much about that child, and it needs to be written about that child. However, you're going to hate me saying this, you can still do it the same way with the bullet points and then throw it through our good old friend Chippy.
She said it. I thought we were going to get away with a whole one. Actually, the last video that we did, which I'm going to put the link up here, is she didn't actually say anything about AI in it whatsoever, because we were talking speech and language last week.
No, but, if you take those bullet points and you've then got to change it into that narrative about the child, put it through something like ChatGPT. I use Typing Mind. There are lots of them out there. But put your bullet points through, give it the name of the child and say, please write this in a professional tone for an audience of professionals, obviously, or whoever those people are, for an education psychologist or whatever you want, and it will regenerate those bullet points for you. And then you just have to proofread it. You do have to proofread it. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. You do need to proofread it and just double check, is this that child? Give it to somebody who knows the child, but take the kid's name out of it and ask them to read it and guess who the child is. Yeah. If they can't guess who the child is, then it's not been written about that child.
Because as I found out with ChatGPT, I got ChatGPT to write me it was a word search for SEN. So I got it to write me, hey, it's right, we're going to do about, what are we doing? About transitioning. So transitions. So we're going to do transitions, we're going to do this, and I want a word search for the magazine. Give me a word search that has lots of words to do with transitions in it. So it gave me the words, and then it gave me this big bank of letters, and it's like, oh, okay, then that must be the grid that I've got it in. Got it all together, put it in the magazine, didn't bother checking it, and guess what? Only 3 of my 10 words were actually in that bank. So I had to go through, rework it so that they actually fit. So do not believe what ChatGPT gives you
Always
on a first instance. Please, please, please go and check it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can use a slightly reverse example of that on Typing Mind. I have to generate the same thing multiple times, but for different things. And when I get to about the 4th or 5th version of it, Typing Mind loses the plot slightly. So it will get to a word like analyse, and then it will go, analyse, look at, consider, horizon. And it just starts listing out synonyms of the word that it's got to, and just spurns them out down the page. And you end up with about, I don't know, 1,500 words, but they are literally just a string of word chains. It's like, okay, don't do that. So do check, proofread.
Yeah, do check, do proofread if you're using something like that, or always make it go back to the first part where it was reading from. If you're doing a long chain, of things. So that's our AI tips. Let's stop AI.
We will stop AI. But
stop. Thank you. Stop.
Generally speaking, bullet points are absolutely fine for the majority of things that we need to send. And to be fair, if you think about it, would you rather receive something that is a great big long narrative essay, or a set of bullet points that give you blah, 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 blah?
I love bullet points. I could do bullet points all day. Our planner's just got loads of bullet points on the page for it. This is what it's got in it. Because if I just put, it's a fantastic, wonderful, brilliant, I'm just kind of waffling before we actually get to what it is. And it's much easier for you to read it without the waffle in it.
Okay, there we go. So how's Sensible 24 going?
Sensible 24 is going absolutely epic, but you've only got 2 days. 2 days left on ticket sales before it closes, so you had better get there. This goes out on an email as well, so you'll see in the email that we've got 2 days, and it'll be big 2 days, it says, if I've managed to create the email correctly.
So even though there's just over 2 weeks until the actual event, we do have to close the ticket sales, and we can't take late ones because of the dietary requirements, and we have to get that through to the venue. So as I said before, this is a hotel that's putting us up for this. It isn't just a conference venue, if you like, and they have been quite... they've been quite generous with us in terms of those dates. We've got to get the information to them, but we have only got 2 days of ticket sales left. And I need to be able to print the badges.
Yes, we've got to print badges.
Abigail needs time to do that.
let's just hold that thought, though. But if you have signed up, you will also realise that there is a giveaway now that TTS are doing.
There is.
Ooh, I wonder what's in the giveaway. Well...
Is it there?
It's no.
Oh, is it there?
No, it's here.
Is that...
It's in the Sensible 20 Sensible SENCO badge. It's here. So there you go. You can see all the prizes that we are giving away in our little giveaway with TTS. They are doing this. It's over £300 worth of goodies that you could win as a SENCO. Yes. SEN consultants that have signed up for it. Yeah,
it has to be a SENCO.
It's going to be a SENCO. It's going to go to a school. So please, for £37.50, it is probably the best value session that you will ever get. For those that are looking to book hotels as well, there is a list of hotels on the website ranging from £129 a night to, I think it's £55 for the night if you go into one of the budget hotels, yes.
Okay, planners.
Planners, we are doing really, really well with planners. Thank you very much for everybody who's already pre-ordered their planners, and all the people who are actually the planners. We're seeing more people sign up for annual memberships because the planner is half price. Thank you for last week's reminders that it's half price. With that, than we have ever seen before. So thank you to everybody for supporting Sensible SENCO. We will put that money into development, and it will not go into our pockets, so don't worry about that.
It never goes into our pockets. None of us take a salary for any of the work that we do for Sensible SENCO.
Nope, we don't. We do this for the love of the SENCOs. Feel the SENCO love. And with Valentine's coming up, that's probably very appropriate.
So planners are pre-order only. Don't come to us in June or July and go, can I buy a planner? Because the answer will be no. Pre-orders up to the second week of May.
Second week of May.
They will then close off, and we will be dispatching them in that latter half of the summer term. So from when most people go back, which is usually the second week of June, to the end of the term, we will be dispatching those planners.
You'll know when we're dispatching them because we'll have 3 pallets delivered to the house
They'll
of
be in the
SENCO
kitchen.
planners that will be in the kitchen, and we'll be taking photos of them going, I can't eat anymore because the SENCOs have taken over my kitchen.
Yeah. I don't think I'll actually get pallets through our front door, actually, dear, which might be more of an issue.
No, we're going to have to unstack the pallets and then bring them in and then restack them in the kitchen.
Yes.
But hey-ho.
Yeah, and no, there will not be any discounts offered on the planner. We cannot afford to subsidise these like we have Sensible 24.
No, it's not going to be discounted. You wanted a hardback one, and that's the reason why the price has gone up. You wanted the pockets in it, and you wanted it more robust, which is why it has the anti-scuff matte finish on it. Ooh! Yeah, I know. I went ooh as well at that. I don't know what it is, but yeah, let's go for it. It will be more robust than the previous version. So there's
Thursday afternoon we're at Hamilton.
There is no webinar tomorrow night simply because we're partying with Google. Party, dance.
And text help.
Dance. Oh, yeah. I've got to wear a suit, though, I think, for that one, so I don't have to wear a suit. I can party. No? Fishing. Dad dancing. No?
You do realise that on the Thursday we are at Bet. We've then got to get the tube across to the theatre to go and see Hamilton.
Yep.
And then we've got to get the tube back again to get to the O2 for the after sales party, whatever you want to call it. You're wearing the same clothes all day, dear. We haven't got a hotel stop in between anywhere. There is no time.
I don't need
There's no
a
time to eat.
hotel stop in between because there's simple reasons for this. I have lots of energy because I have put on £7 over Christmas, so I have stocks and stocks of energy. My slightly ADHD, whatever else it is, thing is going to come out massively on that day, and I'm just going to go crazy.
That had nothing to do with getting changed.
And I'm going to find somewhere to get changed.
Yeah, I'm not.
No, I am.
And I ain't wearing a ball gown all day.
A ball gown? You wear a ball gown all day?
No.
You'd look great on the test stand with your ball gown and your text help stand.
Yeah, I'm not on text help that day. And I'm not going to Hamilton in a ball gown either.
Why not?
Weird. Anyway, so no webinar tomorrow night. We look forward to seeing you next week for the session with NAHT.
NAHT next week with Rob Williams. He's going to hate me by the end of it. Nanu. See you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.